in which countries are women most likely to post sort of sexually provocative images of themselves on the internet and on social media. So the researchers, they put forth various hypotheses. One of them was maybe it's patriarchy. Maybe in cultures where women are treated very poorly, they feel like they have to present themselves in a certain way, very sexually provocative poses and so on. But that's not what the researchers found. What they found was that in countries where income inequality tends to be high, that's when women are most likely to post sexy selfies. And their conclusion here was that when women are competing for a shrinking number of highly successful men, they're more likely to pose in provocative ways on the internet in the hopes of capturing their attention, which is maybe what we're seeing on Instagram and on various other social media apps, where I think there is this sort of tilting towards more and more pornographic adjacent content in the hope of capturing more attention. So I think that a lot of what we're seeing may be due to sort of this overlooked topic of the sexual dynamics in society.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So just to add a bit of explanation to this video, it's not the Muslim countries, the so-called oppressive patriarchy, where it causes women to express themselves and to show that they have a voice, a body that they control. No, it's not. It's the Western liberal countries where feminism has pushed women out of their frame, out of their natural frame, out of their fitrah, where they started misbehaving. Now, of course, Jordan Peterson, this guy, is talking about the whole competition for high value men, which of course is becoming, the pool is lower and lower, no doubt. So these women feel like we gotta compete. We have to be more sexy and show more so that we get their attraction. But that's only one problem, not to mention, of course, the rise of homosexuality. A lot of men are not interested in women because they're homosexuals. So sometimes these secular approaches, Jordan Peterson, Red Pill, they overlook the Islamic element of things. So let me explain. So homosexuality is a big thing. Lesbianism, a lot of women are not even interested in getting to men anymore because they say, forget it, I'm a lesbian now. And many other things. From an Islamic perspective, it is the decay of the fitrah. It's not just about competition for the best men. Let me put some selfies out there. Is that women have lost their fitrah. Yes, there is whatever, all fans or whatever it's called, Muslim women now. Yes, there's porn that is of the genre of hijabi, niqabi and all that. Yes, there are so many decays in our societies. What we're trying to understand as Muslims though, so first of all, in the first circle, we understand at the world at large. So what Jordan Peterson, this guy, talks about is very much true. It is true, but I would say is more true in Western non-Muslim countries, where of course there are Muslim communities, so it does affect them as well. How does it relate to the Muslim Ummah? For example, from my perspective, and you can comment to tell me if you agree or you give your points on this. Having traveled the Muslim world and having a standard to compare to, so the East, the West, the non-Muslim world, the Muslim world, how does it apply to the Muslim world? Well, with the rise of feminism, no doubt that there is, and the weakness of men, no doubt that they're right. There is a smaller pool of real men. So women are trying to be more noticed, to get more, to impress more. It used to be that men had to court more. Men would have to go. Now you have women trying to get noticed at every point, doing all kinds of things. It's much easier with social media because it does spare some embarrassment, or it does break some ice. When you're in person with someone, a woman still, even though there are women who just come up to you straight up and they just propose or tell you or just start hitting on you as men. Like you'd be a man walking on the street, handsome man or whatever, and the woman would just come up to you and be like, hey, what's up? We want something? Straight up like that. Mark my words. So that happens. But with the social media, it makes it much easier where sisters DM you and they're like, I want to marry you, you're the best man I've ever seen. They don't even know who you are. They just see an image on Instagram or YouTube. They're infatuated with how you speak and how you look and so on and so forth. But they throw themselves at you because they know that high value men are hard to come upon these days. Not just that, but it's easier for them through these avenues when a wali doesn't do his job and find them a husband, when the family doesn't care about them and just leaves them. So many women are suffering because of this. So they take matters into their own hands and they start proposing. They start putting pictures of themselves to be noticed. A woman in her natural sense, she wants to be noticed. She wants to be appreciated. She wants to be loved. She wants to feel like she's beautiful, to be complimented. And of course, in the halal way, by her husband. There's nothing wrong Islamically with that if she gets it from a right person. Fathers have to compliment their daughters. It starts from a young age to tell them, mashallah, you're beautiful, you're a princess, you're this, you're that, you're the most, and she feels it. That's her first understanding of value, of her own self-value and worth from her father and her brother. But we have fathers who don't respect their daughters and don't love them. And we have brothers who don't respect their sisters and don't love them, don't protect them. So they get a negative experience right away. So they're still hungry. They're still hungry for this compliments, for this approval, which is in line with their fitrah. Women are beautiful. They were created aesthetically appealing and beautiful more than men. So they're looking for that reassurance, but they don't get it from the father in those formative stages. They don't get it from the brothers. So now they start looking at strangers. Now with social media, it's so easy. So you remove that barrier where you go to someone in person, right? Even for God's sakes, like cyber sex now, even sex has become digitized, and it made it much more easier for women to have what they call this online cyber sex. So yes, they may be virgin biologically, but they've lost their virginity in the cyberspace. Why? Because it's easier. Shaitan is smart. He comes up with all kinds of theories and possibilities and ways to make you commit sins. So, okay, it's hard for them to go and do it in person still, but some women do it. But now it's much easier because I can just start, it starts with taking a few selfies, putting a bit of a lipstick, the fish face, brothers saying, mashallah, sister, you're so beautiful. The mashallahs disappear and the words change and then exchange all kinds of stuff. And then it ends up being a whole different story. So this is some context from the Muslim Ummah that I would say, based on my experience with my clients, it is very much real that there is this new culture of porn, cyber sex, cyber endorsement of female beauty, whatever you want to call it. I think we need to come up with some term for it. But the question is, again, why? A lot of times, so Jordan Peterson and this guy address one point only. And that's what one of my contentions with this type of approach is, that for us Muslims, we need to understand it also how it applies to our ummah. Does what they say apply to our ummah in terms of the competition of women for a small pool of high value men? I think it does, especially in the West. Is it the only thing? No, I think there's much more to it, as I've just said. And it goes back again to loss of values and morals, self-accountability, lack of taqwa, which links to tarbiyah and education, parenting, the love that I just talked about, and the endorsement of the female presence in someone's life by the first man, which is the father and the brothers usually, as opposed to her going to strangers to look for that approval, for that compliment. That women need this. They feed on this. They need to be made to feel beautiful and special. Okay? And again, because they don't have who to. So we do blame women a lot of times for their faults, and they have a lot of faults, no doubt about it. But again, as men, we're the ones who are left in charge. And we need to reiterate that with all the females' problems that we're attacking and we're pushing all the time, and I'm the first one to always highlight these things. Keep in mind, brothers, that we are the qawwams, we are the imams. Not because I want to, not because you want to, because Allah has put us. So just like in a company, if a company fails, the first person to be responsible is the CEO. So we men need to also look at solutions. And that's why we talk about this whole frame of leadership and of strength, so that we can fix these problems. Look at the Sunnah, the Quran, and extract the solutions. Education is a problem. Education is a huge problem. We're not doing proper tarbiyah and education. So again, yes, we can talk about a problem, but what is the solution? Or yes, we can talk about phenomenons such as this, as why women post selfies of themselves and naked selfies and cyber sex with strangers. I mean, I had a client, subhanAllah, who was telling me about a whole culture on a game called Roblox, of how they hook up from all over the world and cyber date. And this girl was a woman who was so upset at herself because she started dating a girl, because the culture is so like pushing for this gay stuff, and they start having cyber sex. And she was really crying, disgusted at herself, that how did I end up here? And it was indeed al-khutuwat shaitan. The steps, step by step. It starts with a selfie. Oh, sister, mashallah. It starts with, okay, a little bit more and more, revealing more tight the belt around the waist, even though you're wearing hijab. This. And of course, the men are going to come. The wolves are going to come. Ow. Right? And then slowly, they will be like this. SubhanAllah, I mean, I think I'm going to leave this for another time, maybe in a podcast with some of the mashayikh, because of course it is a sensitive issue. But we will discuss this, of even sheikhs receiving nudes and pictures from sisters, just like that. You open your DM and you're like, what the heck is this, man? And look what you're missing, brother, sheikh. You might, this is who I am. Why don't you marry me? This is what you could have. It's gotten to that point. And I think we need to have a specific session or podcast about this, maybe with a few of the brothers, inshallah, to discuss this issue, this phenomenon. But it is very much real, and it is very much a problem. And yes, part of it is that women are competing now for a very small pool of men. Women are competing for a very small pool of real men, high value men. But they're not willing to look at the solutions of Islam. And even the men are not willing to look at the solution for Islam. So I want to reiterate that we men are responsible. Why are we responsible? Because, I want to impress women now, boo, to get my followers. Ha ha, boo, 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 boo. Yeah, blah, 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 yada, yada. No. It's because Allah has put us in charge, man. Why, if the company fails, you're going to go and ask the dishwasher or the janitor why the company failed? You're going to go and question the CEO on the board. The CEO on the board, man. So stop being a kid, stop being a big baby, and start taking some self-accountability, as the Prophet said. So, yeah, but of course the women, I mean, that doesn't excuse their behavior and their selfies and all that. It starts with that, khutuwat. وَلَا تَتَّبِعُوا خُطُوَاتِ الشَّيْطَانِ. Don't follow the khutuwat, the steps of shaitan, step by step. It goes from lipstick to fish face to tightening the belt around the waist to showing more skin, showing more body, to showing your vagina. I'm sorry to say this, but this is what is happening. And if you don't like what I'm saying, well, walk away, man or woman. Walk away. It's okay. People don't like to hear the truth. And they say, we shouldn't be talking about these things. Ya akhi, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks in the Quran about zina, about alcohol, about these ills, so that people know what to stay away from. The problem is that all these brothers and sisters who tell me that this is not right, this is ayib, this is not from Quran and Sunnah, they're wrong. It is from Quran and Sunnah. And you know what the enemies of Islam want you to do? To keep having this so-called self-righteous behavior where like, no, we cannot spread this fahisha. Who's spreading it? We're raising awareness and giving solutions and educating. But you're being fooled to just let it pass by. You don't even know it's happening, and that's how it works. Imagine if a thief comes to your house and you have no alarm system, no nothing. You don't know he's even come. He just robbed you. That's what's happening. We're being robbed of our ethics and morals in this world, and we don't even know it's happening. And that's how it's supposed to be, because if you know, of course, you're gonna try to stop it and do something about it. The more people don't know that this is what's going on, that this is happening, then it's the best for these robbers, isn't it? So please think about that. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you, protect you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.